Well, uh, I'm going to be reconstructing some strange plants. They don't look strange, but they are very incomplete, and it's very hard to imagine these plants in its life appearance. But I'm going to try because they are very common components of the of the flora of the Triassic, especially of Gondwana. So um, I'm going to make an attempt to reconstruct them. Yesterday, I tried to do some reconstructions of the Corystosperms, which were mostly trees, but not everything was a tree. There were lots of other different plants that grew in the understory of the forest, sometimes along the margins of the water, like, for example, Peltasperms. For example, Lepidopteris, which bears the wait the Peltaspermum organs. It's a very important part of the floras. At the same time, you have leaves that are not very uh, helpful to, like this thing here. It's the Yabeiella. I think it's the name. It's in the first word of the stream is the name of the plant. I'm going to struggle to pronounce the names, but it's uh, it's similar to a Tynopteroid leaf, but it's supposedly associated with these scaled winged seeds. Uh, this thing here, they are very small, but they are supposedly found in association in various places, so they have been assigned to the same natural plant, but there is no evidence of any cone or reproductive structure or a stem or anything. You only have these leaves here. Uh, the number one is the one I'm referring to, and you have that little seed with a winged seed. Um, of course, the wind would carry these seeds far away, but there is no cone, there is nothing. Some researchers think that they are actually seed ferns, but a lot of them think that they are Gnetalians. Um, so I'm going to try to reconstruct them as Gnetalians. Of course, this reconstruction is going to be very, very speculative because you don't have stems, you don't have shoots, wood, you have nothing. But I would say that they were probably shrubs. Um, and well, these shrubs, if they are related to Gnetalians, they should probably have a similar pattern of leaves, of growth of the leaves. And there is some fossils of Gnetalians with leaves, because today you have Netum, which is a very strange plant. It grows mostly as vines, but there is at least one species that grows as a tree. But something that a lot of Gnetalians have is this opposite phyllotaxis or phyllotaxis, which means the leaves grows like this, uh, in opposite direction, like this. Um, Not only these plants, but the ephedra as well. The problem with these, of course, is that the leaves are very, very small. They're just little scales, right? But if this pattern is some kind of ancestral trait, it would be reasonable to reconstruct an Gnetalean with that kind of pattern, right? This is very speculative, of course. Maybe it's not related to these plants and it's something else, but I'm going with what the researchers agree on right now, at least of the current time. Of course, maybe in 10 years there's a full plant discovered and it's totally different, or I don't know. But if this pattern is common, of two leaves growing on opposite sides like this, we will expect to find at least at least some fossil Gnetalians with that kind of growth, and we have in fact evidence of something like this. This this is from the Jurassic of China, but it shows very important things here. This Gnetalean is very different from anything we have today, but there is a very interesting thing here, which is that the plant has this kind of pattern, right? Look at this. It's the same pattern that the ephedra has. It's the same pattern that Netum shows. So maybe this is some kind of defining characteristic of Gnetalians. I don't know. I won't make that claim, but it's reasonable to think that this was probably a trait that was shared with various species, because if this is something that is repeated in various species of Gnetalians, I will go with that as an option to reconstruct the plant, because the opposite phyllotaxis is common in both extant and extinct Gnetalian plants. See, so I'm going to try to maybe depict something similar. Of course, it's a different plant. It's probably not closely related to this fossil. Of course not. But first, there are many differences. These leaves are very small. Yabeiella has leaves that are around 10 centimeters long, and these leaves are actually very small. So the scale is different. The seeds are probably different as well. We don't have cones, so it's still kind of a stretch to think that it look similar, but at the same time it can't look that different, right? Because these leaves are just tongue-like long leaves, and I don't know. It's not. It will not be crazy to reconstruct them like that. So I did this sketch, but I didn't represent the plant accurately. So I'm just going to take this thing, I'm going to take the actual, the drawing of the leaf is accurate as far as I know. No, it's not this thing. I reconstruct them, the leaf. Wait, this is Pisanosaurus. This is Pisanosaurus, but for a scale. But I'm just going to take this thing here. I'm going to create a new, no, I don't want to open anything. I'm going to create a new painting, and I'm going to take this thing because I'm going to use this as a base to this thing, and I'm going to take the scale too, because the scale here, the scale bar is very important. This is 10 centimeters. So I already had this sketch, but I realized I did some things wrong, so I'm going to fix the mistakes of the previous reconstruction. The leaf, it's a bit longer than 10 centimeters. Of course, that will probably have some natural variance. I need to first of all sketch a basic idea of how the stem could look like, right? Because I imagine there will be the lateral shoots like this, and probably the buds here had, I don't know, I can imagine something that look something like this, right? I don't think it would be crazy to assume this kind of growth for Yabeiella. If it's a Gnetalean, I mean, maybe it's not related to Gnetales at all. Maybe it's a seed fern, and then this reconstruction is wrong, right? But I'm going to go with other hypothesis. This is very speculative, of course. This is just a sketch. This is not the technical illustration, but yeah, just doing. I need to smooth this thing. Well, I know I have a problem here because I don't know how this shoots branch, so I'm going to look for some references, some modern references, some modern Gnetaleans. Let's see, in its branch, maybe. And I can't imagine everything. I need to look these things. Okay. I want to see how it branches. How does it look like? It seems like there is not a bud at the end, like of the. Okay. I think I got a general idea of this thing. Sometimes it branches from the same. Okay. Knowing what, I'm going to look at some ephedra. This thing goes like this. Okay. I've seen some ephedras in the wild. They are very strange looking plants. I've seen them. They are adapted to dry places, which I don't think it will be the case for this fossil plant. Of course, it lives in a more humid place. But I think I have an idea of how to depict the stem. Probably goes like this, and from here it grows a new stem which branches like this. Right? And it maybe branches multiple times. Okay, that got a bit ugly. The tip of the leaf can end in a pointy tip or in a more rounded tip. It depends on the species of Yabeiella, since there are at least two very important ones. But I'm going to be very schematic, and I'm going to simplify the detail there, because this is not like the best reconstruction. Like it's just sketch. It's a sketch, maybe for a future reconstruction, but I don't feel like getting too technical with the detail. So yeah, this is not for a scientific publication. It's just a sketch, just trying to imagine how the plant looked in life, because it's very important to reconstruct this plant. It's a very common it's very common to find it. So but the branching, let's see the branching here. Maybe I can do something like this, and maybe it can go like this. No, it would probably go upwards towards the light, like this, right? I don't know what happened here. I would think that some kind of abnormal growth could happen. Maybe it didn't branch perfectly. Maybe it had like these leaves and branches at the same time. When I say branches, these are thin stems. This is 10 centimeters, the scale. But the scale of this thing obviously is a lot. This is bigger, right? This is not the scale. It only applies to this, right? Obviously, but I need to do a second scale here. I think this leaf got a little too big. I'm going to trim it a bit. Okay, I need to decide which species I'm going to represent, because not all the species of this plant look the same. Like I said before, some had more of this kind of growth and some were quite pointy. So I'm going to commit to one in a moment, because even if this is a sketch, I want it to be accurate. So I need to look that thing up. So little plants. Oh, another question that I would like to clarify would be to how did the plant grow? Like It was a tree, it was a shrub, it was something even smaller. Maybe it didn't have a woody stem. Maybe it grew like a little plant, like a herb, like this, right? I have no idea. Maybe it grew attached to like a woody shrub, like an ephedra, right? But who knows, right? That's going to be very difficult. We are already making a lot of assumptions in doing this thing, so I'm not sure. I'm going to have more references here of the Gnetalean growth. Multiple stems can come here. Okay, this thing is not. These are really nice illustrations. Really nice illustrations. I'm going to reconstruct it as a small shrub, but it could also be a tree. Like, it can be a small tree, or even a vine. It could be a vine as well. Like, we have no idea. And this species is a tree, for example. So you have various options. But I think it's better to reconstruct this plant and be wrong than to omit its existence. I think we should try to. You should not be scared to be wrong when doing paleo art. Of course, you need to take necessary the necessary work to be sure that you are not making everything up, right? But like paleo art, all paleo art is wrong. Everything is wrong. We don't have the time machine. So I think that it's good to be safe, but don't be scared to commit a mistake when doing paleo art. Because if you're always scared to do something, you're not going to do interesting work. You're going to do the most boring work, most boring reconstructions ever, and they don't add anything to paleo art. You need to think about the things that you're doing, even if you might commit mistakes. It's better to be wrong in an interesting way than to be wrong in a boring way, because at the end of the day, you're going to be wrong, no matter what. But at the same time, this I think it's worse to, like I said before, like it's worse to be wrong in a boring way. So just have fun, research and have fun. This is like Joshua's stream, but 100% more boring. But I don't care if no one watches the stream in real time. This is a good resource for doing paleo art. So that's why the video will gets uploaded. I mean, I don't upload the video. I just keep the live on the live section of the channel. It's going to be there. I won't delete it. I'm going to do something different here because it's getting annoying. Of course, this shoot it's looking this way, but I will imagine that you could have shoots that were looking with another direction, and it would look like this, right? So I need to keep that in mind, right? Like you will have this perspective, or something even more like this, maybe, right? So yeah, but I don't care. Right now it's just like a little illustration, a bit schematic, so a sketch, but the good thing with plants is that you don't need to make the most technical scientific illustration, because when you paint, you might just do like obviously like a blob of green stuff, and this is the Yabeiella, right? This is the shrub in its environment, and it doesn't have any kind of detail, right? This is the shrub, and this is, right? Like when you're painting, doing like you don't have to do everything, every detail, but it's good to for a close-up to know how did the plant look. So yeah, depends if you're going the more technical schematic illustration or the painterly approach when doing a piece. Sometimes you do one or the other, and both are valid. Both have their strengths and weaknesses. I'm still struggling to do the branches. I'm going to move this thing up. This thing is going here, so I can depict the rest of it. The 10 centimeters, I'm going to keep them in another layer. And I need to draw the seed, but the seed is very small. It could be something like that to scale, if you put it to scale, this seed, I think. And since you don't have the cones, like how would the cones of this plant look? Like maybe something like this? Like, I don't know, that's just like, I'm bullshitting you if I do something like that. I'm going to keep this thing like this. Very simplified. Of course, this could have another branch coming here, another stem coming here, from here. But I don't want to overdo the thing. I don't want it to become difficult to understand, so I'm going to keep it this way. This leaf could be bigger. Maybe I can get away with keeping this thing if it goes like this, because of perspective, right? I can fit the thing there. I don't know what to do here. I don't know if I want to keep a leaf here, but now it could go upwards. I don't know if I need to keep. No sé. Ay, ¿qué le meto ahí? ¿Qué sé yo? I'm not sure. Maybe I need to look at more things. This thing has a shoot growing from the side. Maybe this can give me an idea, but I don't understand what I'm seeing in the fossil. It has the shoot coming like this. Who knows? Who knows? There are other fossils of Gnetalians, but they are a bit um, suspicious. They're a bit sus. Um, maybe from the Permian. The only remains, of course, that can be confidentially, oh, I messed up. Sorry, uh, with certainty to this group of plants. It's from the Jurassic onwards. Like you can see Jurassic, but of course they were probably more older than this. This is I'm not sure. I feel like they appeared before. Hmm. Because you have things from Triassic, for example, Upper Triassic, Upper Permian. You have uh, you have a lot of Triassic, but they are very strange plants that don't really don't really say much, right? Like, what the hell is this thing? Who knows? Uh, they're very they are very dubious. Uh, I'm not sketching right now, I know, but I'm going on a tangent, but I think it's relevant. Mm, what 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 the hell is this thing? It has trichomes. I don't know how to pronounce this thing, but it's the little hairs, right? Sorry for my English. Uh, okay, uh, this doesn't not help us at all to do anything, but it has bisaggate pollen. I don't know. Probably no. Like I said before, this is a very speculative reconstruction. It could be anything, really. If this plant is not it's not related to the things that I think they are related, then well, this is totally wrong. But we can be wrong. It's fine. We're going. We're just illustrate. Paleoartists don't depict reality. Paleoartists represent and depict hypotheses. And this is a hypothesis of some people. Of course, this has a vein. It has veins coming from here like this, but I don't feel like doing that. That's going to make the drawing look less easy to read. I will do that in a more detailed drawing, but since this is just a sketch, we are going to ruin the readability of the drawing, so I'm not going to do that. This thing looks a bit too long here. It's maybe I can do like a magnifying glass here and do the seed in a different segment, because the seeds will be very small and you don't have the cones. I don't feel like doing the, maybe in the wind, maybe the wind carries the seeds. Maybe, right? Of course, this reconstruction is probably wrong. That's what I don't want people to copy things just because I did them. That's why I did not upload my dichroidium sketch, because I want people to look these things for themselves and read the literature for themselves before doing a reconstruction. I don't want to give a cookie cutter thing that people can copy. Of course, if you are watching this video in the future, if you're watching this stream in the future, because it's going to be uploaded, right? Please take a look at the hypothesis that researchers say and their opinions on the papers. Of course, if you don't have time to do that, you can you're not going to be like a bad paleo artist if you just copy this thing, but many times in the history of paleo art, the paleo memes happen, right? And paleo memes don't add anything good to paleo art. So that's what I suggest people to just do their own research when trying to do paleo art. This is not a, well, even reconstructions published by researchers in publications can be wrong, and sometimes they get replicated because they appear in a scientific paper, and they are also wrong, but not because of malicious behavior. Of course, it's just science. It's like that sometimes. Well, I think I have a nice sketch here. I don't know what to do here. I'm not sure. I could do a more cleaner sketch over this thing, or maybe cleaner line art, and maybe even do like a heavily speculative reconstruction that but I don't want people to take it too seriously. I don't feel like I want to give a very polished reconstruction, because people take those things with more authority, even if it's the same thing. As long as you show people something very clean, polished, and with a lot of text, they're going to believe it. Okay, if the hypothesis is correct, and this thing is a Gnetalean, then this reconstruction is probably accurate. But if it's not, then this thing is totally wrong. It depends on the hypothesis. Well, it's a good sketch. These seeds are not to scale, of course. They are much smaller, right? I think. Wait, no, they are not that small. I mean, they are. This seed. Oh, I forgot to set the name of the seed. The seed is Fraxinopsis. The seed is Fraxinopsis. I'm going to type it in a second. Some researchers actually have expressed doubt that these plants are, these parts are actually from the same natural plant. So if that's true, then well, that makes things harder for us. It's a I think this is not. Wait, okay, this is the layer. I need to name the layers, but I'm very messy. The scale, I need to fix the scale too. I mean, I need to bring this thing down. The scale is not. What does this thing do? This is the scale. Okay. Well, this is very speculative, of course. What if the segments could be shorter, right? For example, maybe the segments are very short and the leaves are much more like this. The space between the stems, it's totally speculative, of course. I have no idea how did that thing look in life. There is not a single stem found in with these leaves attached. So yeah, maybe the stems, the space in between the segments would be very short, and this thing could look like this. I have no idea. But I know, I just went with this. This is very speculative. Now the next question could be like, yeah, the size of the plant, but I'm not sure. Maybe it's like maybe it's a small tree. Maybe it's a shrub. I'm going to go with the shrub hypothesis just because I don't know, I feel like doing the shrub. This is very speculative, of course. I'm going to use a more painterly style because the shrub is it's just whatever. I don't want people to take this shrub seriously. Maybe I can do it in color. Like, who knows? Maybe it was a shrub. This is uh, this is not bad. It's a shrub like this. This is probably wrong, by the way. Please don't take this thing too seriously. Right? And for example, if this is to scale, then maybe a Pisanosaurus will be like little guy here, right? Gacillosaurid. I don't know, one person could be like this, right? Of course, this is just crazy speculation. Crazy speculation. This is why people throw generic ferns in the background. But there are other plants that I want to cover. Which I'm going to be talking about in a moment. I could offer another reconstruction of the plant, depicted as a seed fern. If this is a seed fern, then it would look totally different. Well, it will not look that different. I think if this thing is a seed fern, then it's probably the branches could be more ginkgo-like shoots. So, like this, right? And the shape of the shrub, I don't think it will be that different. If this is a seed fern, then it could grow like this. Yeah, if this is a seed fern, it can grow like this. But I went with the Gnetalean hypothesis, and it's fine. I mean, okay. Wait a second, I need to do something. No, everything's fine. Oh. I need to use a. Wait, I need to give context to this little shrub that I did here. In a scale, right? And I could imagine that a person could look like. I need to obviously add a good human silhouette, but this is a placeholder for the sketch, right? I don't think it's out of the question that if this thing was some sort of Gnetalean, it could grow like a vine. It can also be a tree, a small tree, like maybe it was a tree. Who knows? I mean, there's no way to know. I need to place a, a silhouette here, a human figure that doesn't look like a stickman. Maybe I can do it myself, but I will need to look at some references, and I don't want to waste my time with this person here. So I'm not sure. I don't know. Well, maybe I could add color to this sketch, but I don't want to make it too detailed because, like I said before, this gives the sketches far more of a professional look to a little sketch that the problem is that people take those things more seriously. Okay, I need to add some context to this thing in the text here. No, why it's green? Heavily reconstruction. Cough. Yabeiella. Awesome. So, that's it. Native Italian. Some researchers suggest that it was this thing looks horrible. No, I accidentally deleted the thing. I'm going to. Why it's flipped? What happened here? Oof. Oof. Researcher. Some claim that the winged seeds of the wait, what happened here? Natural plan. Well, that's a disclaimer for the people that won't watch this video, which I think it will be most of them. Well, maybe I don't upload the picture then. I can make this magnifying glass look more clean because this was of course a sketch, but I want to make this look better. Maybe a circle. Shape. It's part of the same layer. Here. Well. No, don't feel it. Okay. I don't know how thick the stroke here is, because I don't see it. How thick is it? Oh, there is not a... Maybe I can give it a... like this. Well, I'm not sure. It looks too clean. Well, I'm going to do things. This is not the most... this is not the... probably not the proper way to do this thing. Photoshop is my passion. Okay, like... I can add an arrow here. No. No cons. Well, I'm almost finishing this sketch. So I'm cleaning the wings. Big disclaimer. Big disclaimer right there. Okay, well, I think we can move on, because I think I got a bit bored by this thing. I'm going to save this as a sketch stream. Well, what else do we have here? We have this is going to be even worse. So this Tiniopteris, which is like a